Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Lieutenant General Jody Daniels, Chief of Army Reserve, Commanding General, United States Army Reserve Command, welcome to the Soldier and Family Member Town Hall. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here with us today. This session is being recorded, and the link will be provided on our Army Reserve Family Programs page. So for those who do not have an opportunity to listen tonight, we'll have that opportunity. Without further delay, please give a warm family welcome to Lieutenant General Daniels. Ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in. Thanks everyone for joining us. Excuse me, I got some sort of crud. For joining us for another Soldier Family Town Hall. We appreciate everyone joining in, and thanks to all of you out there who are volunteers and are helping out around the country, around the world. And thanks all to the command teams for all that you've been doing. And then of course, to the team here who helped pull all this together and make sure that all the bits and the bytes do what they're supposed to do. Thanks for pulling it off and making it go so easily. So for those of you out there who may not be aware, April, coming up soon, is the month of the military child. And of course, with spring and summer breaks, just around the corner, we thought this would be a really good time to highlight some of these great resources that are available to soldiers, to parents, and to their kids. So growing up in the military, that gives kids a pretty unique perspective and many opportunities to develop such great qualities as resiliency, adaptability, and leadership. These are skills that set them apart from their peers. And as you all know and have been living and breathing this wonderful dream, one of the challenges of being our geographically dispersed force is that 70% of Army Reserve children don't live near resources at a military installation. So they're not that close to being able to go on post and get some of those accesses. So tonight, I really will be okay. Our goal tonight, bring high quality, let you be aware of some high quality programs out to our communities, where the soldiers live and work, helping us build a stronger and more resilient Army Reserve along with our families. So we've got two great guest speakers this evening, Ms. Terry Regali from the Boys and Girls Club of America. She's with us to talk about one of those great resources called Mission Youth Outreach. And then we've got Ms. Christy Brown from the National Military Families Association, presenting Operation Purple Camp. So I'm sure, I've heard about these and I think they're really great opportunities. So thank you, ladies, for spending the time with us this evening. I'm going to pass it on over to my groom, John.
That sounds wonderful, dear. Hey, everyone, thanks for being here this evening. Hope springs eternal. And as we end spring training for Major League Baseball, I wish everyone the best of luck for their teams out there. But let's go Mets. So in all seriousness, I believe you're really going to enjoy tonight's update on how the Boys and Girls Club of America can support the Army Reserve family. They briefed us during a monthly shop talk meeting about a year and a half ago and recently updated us earlier this month. The timing is perfect as many of you consider summer opportunities for your kids. And this also say the same for Operation Purple Camp. Now, I got 80 seconds left. I'll put in a shameless plug for the Army Reserve Family Programs page. I'm not sure if they're going to pop it up there or not. Yeah. In addition to past taped shop talk sessions, there's a ton of additional resources on this site. COVID, which hopefully is behind us in the rearview mirror, and then food insecurity are just two examples. And I hope food insecurity is not one of the challenges any of our folks have out there. But if you do, check out the page. It's well worth it. Now I'll turn the mic over to our esteemed Command Sergeant Major Lombardo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm coming to you from the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And as some of you can probably relate, my luggage is coming to you from the great state of Charlotte, North Carolina. It's my distinct honor to join General Daniels and John tonight. I'm going to introduce a little further our guest speakers. So we mentioned Ms. Christine Brown. General Daniels mentioned her. She's the program manager for the National Military Families Association Operation Purple Camps. So Christy, I think you're on the line. She's married to an active duty Coast Guardsman. I think I could say Coastie, and we can forgive you for that. Together, they've lived in the military life for over 17 years, raising 2 teenage children, no small feat, PCS in 6 times, no small feat, and enduring multiple military deployments. That means street credibility. Christy understands what it's like to be part of a military family, which is why she's such a passionate advocate for them. So look forward to that. We're also pleased to introduce Ms. Terry Regali, as General Daniels also mentioned, who's here tonight for Missing Youth Outreach. She brings over 24 years of experience as an organizational development consultant and a safety specialist. It includes 20 years with the Boys and Girls Club, where she received the President's Circle Award for Performance Excellence. That's a big deal. So I challenge you to come up with some questions for either of these 2 ladies that they can't answer. I think you'll be challenged to do so. And when the presentations are complete, you'll have a chance to ask any questions you may have. So let's get started. Without further ado, over to the team.
Thank you, ma'am, sir, and Sergeant Major. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now transition to these amazing presentations that Sergeant Major was just spoke of. Mrs. Brown, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks so much for that lovely introduction. So my name is Christy. I am the Operation Purple Camp Manager, which is a program of the National Military Family Association. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Operation Purple Camp because that's one of the reasons I'm here. But I also want to make sure I highlight some of the other programs that we do because, you know, families work better when everybody is happy, and we do a lot of programming for families. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. So if you can switch the slide. First, I want to talk about National Military Family Association. For over 50 years, we've supported military families in 3 distinct ways. First, we advocate for military families. We're up on Capitol Hill, identifying the needs of families, hearing from families like yours, and then being up on Capitol Hill and advocating for those families. I heard earlier some of the issues that you guys are talking about. That's what we're talking about too. We're talking about food insecurity, we're talking about childcare, and we're talking about military spouse employment. Those are really important to us because they're important to you. Secondly, we do programming. We try to fill in where there are gaps in the policy, and we try to create programs that help families while we work on those pieces of advocacy. Third, not least of all, we do research. This helps inform our programming and our advocacy. We just finished up our 3rd year of our teen study. You can see a little bit more of that on our website. It's a population that hasn't been researched as much as some other populations, and we've gotten some really exciting information from that. If you want to switch to the next slide, please. Thanks. So I'm going to just focus on our programs, which is what I do. It's my passion. As you can see from the slide, we have 2 main programming elements. One of them is our spouse scholarships and support. And then the other one is the Operation Purple. And under that umbrella, we have a couple different programs. Some of them are for youth and some are for entire families. Right now, NMFA supports all military families. And when we say that, that means we support all 8 uniformed services. So while some of our specific programs might have eligibility requirements, if you are part of a uniformed service family, you will find programming for you through NMFA. If you want to switch to the next slide, we'll start by talking about scholarships. So scholarships is a year-round program. The scholarships are awarded quarterly. One of the cool things is there's no rank requirements, and eligibility criteria is listed on our website, but it's pretty simple. It's essentially you have to be able to hold a DoD ID card and be the spouse of a service member. We sponsor scholarships from GED all the way through PhD. And one of the really unique aspects of our program is that we also do entrepreneurial scholarships. So if you're a spouse who wants to start a business or has a business that you want to take to the next level, that might be the right place for you. We support entrepreneurs and we're really excited to be able to do that. Definitely check out our website for specifics about that. And I will put our website on our last slide. If you want to switch slides, please. Thank you. So now we'll get to my program, which is the Operation Purple program. There are a couple different elements of this program. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about how it started. In 2004, we came up with a program to support military youth. There were a lot of families with deployed members overseas. And the beginning of the program was summer camp for military youth, a week-long residential program. In 2009, we expanded to start serving families. So we do family weekend retreats now as well. And in 2020, when the world was home, we decided to come home with you and we created virtual programs. So kids had a camp experience that they could do in their own homes. And that was really successful for us. So we've continued that. Through our summer camp program alone, we have served over 68,000 kids since we started in 2004, and we'll be serving over 1,000 this summer in person. And then additionally, we'll be serving families and we'll be serving youth virtually. If you want to switch over, please. Thank you. Next up is my specific program, Operation Purple Camp. So as you can see here, our camps are held across the country and they're held all summer long. What we do is we team up with ACA, which is American Camp Association, ACA accredited camps all over the country to host a week-long traditional residential summer camp. These are exclusively for military youth, and we, as the National Military Family Association, have curriculum, programming, and support that's tailor-made for military kids during that week. You can see on the slide here, and also if you visit our website, all of the dates and locations, and then the ages for the specific camp that are able to attend those sites. I did want to mention that currently we are accepting people for the wait list. Our application open time for this specific program is mid-February to mid-March. You can still get on the wait list for this summer. But I highly recommend signing up for our emails or marking your calendar for next February so that you can be there right when we open in 2024. If you don't see a location on the map near you right now, it's fine. We are always looking to expand. We might be near you next year. Don't give up hope. And also, we have virtual programming that you can take with you anywhere. So if you want to switch slides. The virtual program I was talking about is called the Operation Purple Summer Challenge. So this is specifically made for kids that might not want to attend camp, can't attend camp, that aren't close to a camp, maybe PCSing or moving over the summer, but the whole family can join in. Participants have the chance to create challenges, win prizes, and meet other military kids. Everything is done virtually and they meet weekly. It's a great option if you have a busy summer or you just can't make it to camp. Applications for this program open up on our website in mid-April, so please head to the website for more info. You can switch slides. Awesome. Our next one is our Operation Purple Family Retreats. So our family retreats are for the entire family. They're a weekend away to relax, have fun, and quality time with the entire family. Lodging, meals, and all activities are provided, and they happen all over the country, all throughout the year. And you just have to head to our website. I know I keep saying that. I promise I'll give you the website at the end to find out exactly when and where. We release those dates and times throughout the year. And if you are on our email list, you will get an email when those are opened up. We are hosting a few one-day family retreats this year. This is something that we've only started in the last few years. It's just a full day at camp. You don't actually have to spend the night there, but you get it's like camp light. This summer, we're going to be doing one in June outside of Anchorage, Alaska. So if you will be there in June, or if you want to be there in June, I recommend heading to the website now. Applications are open and you can sign up. That specific program is for hidden helper military families. Those are families that have children or youth who live in homes with wounded, ill, or injured service members or veterans. So if that describes you, you can absolutely apply. If you want to head on to the next one. Our next program is called Operation Purple Healing Adventures. Similarly to our family retreats, these are for entire families. They can be veteran or active duty. They are for families of wounded, ill, and injured service members or veterans. All of the meals, activities, and lodging are all provided. And they, again, are all over the country, all different timing. They are on our website when they happen. And as promised, if you head to the next slide, at the bottom here, you can see our website. I wanted to give this to you so you could find all of our programs. I encourage you to check out the site. I encourage you to sign up for our emails so you know when all of our things are happening. And I also encourage you to check out the tab at the top called Information and Resources. There is a wealth of information on topics that are really important to military families, resources on there for you to use, and just a bunch of information that you might find helpful.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was a lot of information, but you went through it flawlessly. So a couple questions that we do have for you is, do you offer family weekend retreats? And you did answer that during your presentation saying yes. So my follow-up question for you on that is it only in the summertime or is it all year round for those?
So the family retreats are not only in the summertime. Usually you'll find them in what we call like the shoulder season, so the spring or fall. A lot of times we'll use campsites around the country that do host summer camps for kids. And so most times they're available during the spring and fall, and that's when the weather is most temperate anyways. We always try to make it when the weather is going to be nice. We're not going to be in Alaska in the winter, and we try not to be so far in the deep south in the middle of summer. So we want it to be temperate.
Awesome. Another question for you. So if my child is in New York and there isn't a program in New York and there's one in a state close to me, would I have to pay to get him or her there? And can they go?
They can absolutely go. We definitely don't put limitations on where you can apply for camp because we know military families have so many connections all over. We don't want to limit families. We do not, however, pay for any transportation. So I would recommend applying for a camp either close to you or somewhere where you have family or relatives or friends. A lot of our families pair up our camps with visiting family members.
Okay. And then one more question for you is, if the soldier is deployed, will the family still be able to attend the camps and the family weekend retreats?
That's a great question. We actually want the entire family to be there. That's kind of part of the idea of the program. So while we do want families who are in deployment cycles, because it's a great opportunity to bond, it would need to be before or after the deployment and not during.
Okay. Do you have anything for family members with a deployed spouse?
We don't have any family programs for deployed spouses, but we absolutely, your kid can come to camp.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't see any more questions at the moment, but I'm pretty sure more will come up. I thank you for that, Mrs. Brown. And now I would like to introduce Mrs. Terry Gully from the Boys and Girls Club of America. Ma'am.
So if you could, I'm sorry, this is General Dan. If you could just hang on, just another quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
I see one in the chat window. It says, if my child is in New York and there isn't one in New York, would he be able to go to another state where I have to pay to get him there? Or did you already answer that question?
I did. So basically the
Sorry.
answer is yes, we do. You do have to pay for
Sorry.
them to get to camp, but they can go anywhere they want.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
No worries.
I'm just getting caught up to the chat window.
That's okay, ma'am. Mrs. Terry?
Thank you so much. And so I just wanted to make sure that they're able to get my slides up there. And first, I wanted to say to Christy, thank you for sharing that. What an amazing program. I am just so in awe of all that you're able to do for military families and your street cred. So thank you so much. I am Terry Regali with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. While I am not a military spouse and do not have that street cred, I'm currently married to a former Army 10th Mountain Division soldier. So I have a little tiny baby bit of street cred, and I learned that history of the military all the time from him. So thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to be with you today. Next slide, please. First, I wanted to say thank you for your service. So whatever that looks like for your family, we know that it takes the entire family to serve. And so just wanted to take that minute to just say thank you so much for your service. Next slide, please. I'm here to talk to you today about our program Mission Youth Outreach, but I wanted to start by just letting you know about our military partnership that we have enjoyed and what really is the Boys and Girls Club. We know that we do have strong brand recognition, but sometimes folks don't really know what the Boys and Girls Club is. So I want to share a little bit about that with you as well. We actually started in 1906 as a federated boys club. And after several years, there were 53 member boys club organizations. And once they all got together and decided they needed somebody to help manage all of the organizations across the country, that's where the Boys and Girls Clubs of America was started. And we started with just a very strong mission to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, responsible, and caring citizens. And it wasn't until 1991, during the Persian Gulf War, that we really started our partnership with the Joint Services Military. And that's all branches of service. In fact, last year was our 30th anniversary of this partnership. Next slide, please. In 1995, our partnership with the military grew and really solidified through a contractual partnership and contract with the Joint Services Military. And so we have a few different ways that we support military families on installation and off installation. So our on installation partnership means that we have over 200 Boys and Girls Clubs of America affiliated youth centers. These are all on installation. And what that means is that while the military employs the staff that operates the youth centers, they are delivering Boys and Girls Club proven successful programs. And we have 500 sites worldwide. So not just in the United States, but really every single place where there's a family support system, they are delivering Boys and Girls Club programs on that BGCA affiliated youth center. And then in 2013, our partnership with the military really just evolved. And they said, we see what's happening on the installations, and we want to make sure that we can provide that same level of support with these programs to our youth, 70 to 75% who live in the geo-dispersed neighborhoods, right where you all are. And so that's when we decided to create the Mission Youth Outreach Program, primarily to connect folks like you with our local Boys and Girls Clubs across the country. We have 1,100, little over 1,120 organizations, and we just surpassed over 5,100 sites across the United States. So many, many, many opportunities in every nook and cranny where you all live are there opportunities for your youth to connect with our Boys and Girls Club. And so we call this partnership now Better Together, because this is a very big partnership that's kind of a collaborative of public and private funding. And really our main goal is to reach out to more military families like yourself to see how we can really connect your youth to these local Boys and Girls Clubs for before and after school care. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the Mission Youth Outreach Program was born. So I want to take a few minutes to talk really about what is it exactly and how can you get involved. So the partnership is a funding mechanism every year that involves a voucher or application process. And so there is a small application that if you're a young person aged 6 to 18 would like to participate in a Boys and Girls Club before or after school program, the voucher has a value of $238. So we know that 89% of all of our Boys and Girls Club, local Boys and Girls Club programs, annual membership is under that value. So this voucher and application, we feel, is providing a huge service to your families to be able to bring your kids to the local Boys and Girls Club closest to you. This means that if you have dependent kids, meaning your biological youth, your step youth, your adoptive, foster, or guardian youth, any of those youth who have a parent with the Army Reserve are eligible to receive this voucher for a Mission Youth Outreach Program, which means a free annual membership to a Boys and Girls Club program. And that means every year. It can also be transferred if you have a relocation. And if you wonder why there might be different costs per local Boys and Girls Club, well, we are a national organization. We are a federated model, which just means that every local Boys and Girls Club raises their own money. They have their own board of directors and they set their own fees. So the fees are traditionally what is best for the community. So if you run into an organization that's near you that is costs a bit more than the $238 voucher, for example, there might be additional fees for transportation or summer programming, or maybe there's an additional monthly cost. Again, that should only be with about 11% of our organizations, but there are some that do have those additional fees. We ask that you ask for scholarships if you run into this situation. And we ask that, those organizations provide those scholarships to your families, or perhaps there's a payment program if it's above those costs. So we just wanted to kind of let you know that while there's this great funding, there are a small amount of our local sites who may have pricing above that for the annual Boys and Girls Club after school program. Some of them also might have additional fees for summertime. But let's say, for example, if a Boys and Girls Club charges a $50 annual membership fee, some may not charge even a summer program fee. So we have hundreds and hundreds of Boys and Girls Clubs out there who have after school program, and then the summer program is all for the same cost. Next slide, please. So again, we wanted to just let you know a couple of the eligibility and a little bit about before and after school care. So I mentioned already that it's 6 to 18 years old and they must be a dependent of, an Army Reserve soldier. And this funding is specifically for active duty Guard and Reserve families only. I know that some of you may have some challenges with childcare. We do have some of our local clubs are also licensed childcare providers, ages 0 to 5. So you may run into some of those local clubs that do provide this service. However, this funding is specifically only for ages 6 to 18. So if you have more than one youth, and maybe you have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, it may be that they can both go to that before school program if it's offered, but really only the 7-year-old would be able to take advantage of the voucher. So hopefully that makes sense. Some of them can be drop-in, if you're stationed somewhere for the weekend, if they're registered in advance. So that's kind of the before school opportunities. After school, this is the crux of our Boys and Girls Club programs. Most youth can be dropped in as long as they're registered Boys and Girls Club members. We even have many organizations that are open on Saturdays. So some clubs open late, some open early, some close between 5 and 7, some are open till 8 or 9. And again, that's just dependent upon the local Boys and Girls Club and their operating hours because of our federated model. Next slide, please. So you might be wondering, what do we provide? So because Boys and Girls Clubs is primarily an after-school program, we really focus our programs in 5 key areas. I've put most of them here, but I think you could guarantee that our clubs provide mentorship. They provide leadership guidance. We know that clubs or youth vote with their feet. So we know that when kids want to come to our club, that means that they're doing a great job in their programming. They have physical fitness training, some have career counseling, some have teen centers that provide opportunities to visit with colleges, whether it's virtually or in person. We have lots and lots of digital learning platforms, which we know are really popular with kids right now. You can guarantee that every single Boys and Girls Club has some type of sports and recreation program. They're going to have healthy lifestyles programs that lead them to good character and citizenship and academic success. We also have an abundant arts programs that doesn't just mean pastels and charcoal. Our arts programs are really exceeding all kinds of goals right now in terms of, you know, different types of artistic platforms, whether it's drama or poetry or, you know, oil painting. All different types of arts programs are available in our local clubs now. And then also we probably about 5 years ago started working towards a life and workforce readiness programs. So we do have an abundant programs that are geared towards youth 6 to 18 that, you know, we want to make sure that these are high yield learning activities, things that they're going to want to come back to, things they're going to learn from, and things that's going to show to your youth. You'll know when they've been to a Boys and Girls Club. Next slide, please. So what is our secret sauce? We've had this formula for impact for many years now, and you can just see on the screen that essentially what it is we take those young kids who need us most, and in this case, our military young people, we provide these outcome-driven club experiences, which include 5 key elements I'll show you in a moment. Those high-yield learning activities, you know, the ones that you're helping them do something fun, but they're also learning, but they may not know about it. These targeted programs are really what kind of helps our young people thrive. And we know that when they continue to come and have regular attendance, all these things lead to our priority outcomes of academic success, good character and citizenships, and a healthy lifestyle. This is our formula for impact, and this is why we have been so successful for over 100 years. Next slide, please. Wanted to just show you what those 5 key elements mean. It means that if we provide a safe and positive environment in our local clubs, along with providing access to fun and a sense of belonging. We can't underline this anymore. We don't want to be a school after school. We want to provide things that kids love. We want to make them have fun and give them that sense of belonging. But we also know that taking youth and providing them in a space that's not their family or their home, they'll need positive and supportive relationships. They'll also need opportunities and expectations. Our Youth of the Year program is one of our staple programs. We also have a military Youth of the Year program. And this is where young people take what they've learned at Boys and Girls Clubs and they compete statewide, regionally, and nationally for a great program that can earn them college scholarships. And most of those things surround formal and informal recognition. So these are our 5 key elements for positive youth development. And this is the center stone of our Boys and Girls Club work across the country. Next slide, please. So how can you participate? How can you find your local club? Well, if you scan this QR code here, it will take you to our main website, bgca.org. Once you get there, there'll be a place where you can type in your zip code to find your nearest club. You might ask, how do I find out which clubs have a before school, which clubs are open on Saturdays? Again, that is all dependent on the local club. So once you type in your zip code and find the site or organization nearest to you, you can just give them a call. You can find out their hours of operation. You can find out their annual membership fees. And then you can even ask them if they're participating in the Mission Youth Outreach Program. In order for your family to be able to use this voucher or brochure, the club does have to be a participating member. Just because they might not be a participating member doesn't mean that you can't connect with us, because most likely they just haven't signed up yet. We don't have a single club that hasn't wanted to sign up for this program. So if you run into an organization that's not familiar with the Mission Youth Outreach, don't fret, you can connect with us and we'll make sure and do the reach out for you and make sure that you can connect your local club with your young people. Next slide, please. So what questions do you have?
That was also an amazing presentation. Thank you so much. So a couple questions that I do have for you coming up is, Do you guys pair with the YMCA?
Well, the YMCA has very similar programming to us. And while we do have many of our local clubs have partnerships with the local YMCA, we are different organizations. I think the main difference between us and the YMCA is we have dedicated youth centers when the YMCA is primarily for families. So our centers are specifically for young people after school only.
Understand. And when you say dependents, is that including stepchildren as well?
Yes, ma'am. Stepchildren, foster children, adoptive children, guardian children, biological children. Yes.
Amazing. Are they able to use the vouchers anywhere besides the Boys and Girls Club, or is it restricted to there?
It's restricted to the Boys and Girls Club, as this is a contractual partnership with the Department of Defense and Joint Services and Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
Okay. And do you have anything available for TPU soldiers? Because some of your stuff you mentioned was just for active guard reserve.
Active duty guard and reserve is the only opportunities we have currently at this moment.
Understand. I do have a question for Mrs. Brown.
Okay.
The question was, are there any limitations or resources given for EMFP families?
Yeah. EFMP families can absolutely participate in all of our programming. We work really hard to make sure that we use campsites that can accommodate a variety of needs. Like for instance, in some of our programming, especially for family programming, we'll rent golf carts if there's a lot of walking to be done, that kind of thing. We work really closely with our partners to make sure we can accommodate all the families we accept. Now, that being said, they are camps, and while they are ADA compliant, there are some physical limitations to what they can provide. So we just work really closely with anybody who applies to our programs to make sure that it'll be a good fit, and we try our hardest to make it happen.
Amazing. I thank you both. And at this time, we would transition to questions for anyone on the panel. That means you could ask Ms. Terry, Ms. Christie, General Daniels, Mr. McCarthy, or Sergeant Major.
So
Ma'am,
I'm
you had
gonna-
something?
Yeah, I'm going to ask a question because I don't know if Ms. Christie, if the question was clear.
Sure.
I'm sorry, for Terry, about the difference between a part-time, a soldier who's a reservist, and then the Army Reserve also has full-time individuals who are called AGRs, the Active Guard and Reserve. So I think the question is distinguishing between those who are serving full-time and those who are serving part-time. And the question being whether or not those who are the part-time members of the reserve, if they are eligible for the program.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I just want to make sure because the way it got worded a little strange, and I don't think you quite.
Okay, my apologies, but yes.
It was easy to misunderstand.
Whether they're
And you
just on a weekend duty or whether they're on different projects, anywhere. And the other thing too is it doesn't have to be where they live. Like, for example, if a whole family has to move, then that can transfer to the next Boys and Girls Club location. And our clubs will work together to create that soft transition to the next Boys and Girls Club, where they may relocate.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for that clarification.
Absolutely.
This says, I met a soldier who is a TPU soldier who has 18 months and told that the command can't go on, and told by the command she can't go on annual training in June due to childcare. Is there a way she can receive assistance? She is stationed in Los Angeles, California.
Just define what that means, just to Terry and Christy, what a TPU means, because that's not general knowledge.
That is a reserve soldier on the weekends, weekend drilling.
So I guess from my perspective, it would depend on their age. And so if they're 6 to 18, they can go to any Boys and Girls Club. They can even have 2 different memberships at 2 different Boys and Girls Clubs, for example. But if they're under age 6, then it would have to be a local club that has that option of childcare in the mornings. And we do have some in Los Angeles. So if somebody wants to connect with me offline, I will do my best to assist that family.
Okay, and I read that wrong. It's she has an 18-month-old.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, still,
This
some
is-
of our
I'm sorry.
programs are 0 to 5. They do have childcare in the mornings. However, the Mission Youth Outreach funding wouldn't help them with that funding, but there may be scholarship opportunities with that local club.
Okay,
So in my
Ma'am?
line of work, I always say, like, if you don't ask, you don't get.
yes.
So that is an excellent point. If we could go back to the question, I think it was a childcare question, not for the two panelists, but for the Sergeant Major and myself in terms of what we've been trying to do in terms of a childcare pilot and to get some coverage to help soldiers that are really challenged to find childcare either on weekends or for a short term while they're gone for their annual training. So if you could please repeat that question so we can give a good answer.
Yes, ma'am. The soldier has an 18-month-old and she was told by her command that she cannot attend annual training in June due to not having childcare. Is there some way she can receive assistance?
So we have, Gerald Daniels and I have, recently, effective October of 22, initiated a troop program unit childcare program for both battle assembly weekends, the 2 days you do a month, and for the 15-day annual training, depending on where you do it and if it's 24 hours or not. The pilot program is aligned with an organization called Child Care Aware. It's fully funded for the duration for those annual trainings and for battle assembly. And California is one of the states. So I would direct you to the Family Programs website, apply for it, and see if you're eligible. Mr. T, anything additional? Ma'am?
Yeah, we should have they sent me a flyer earlier today on the pilot program, the no-cost childcare to soldiers during battle assembly and annual training. I don't know that we have it available. I'm going to try and put this up so that you can see the QR code. Hopefully, I don't know if it's coming in. I don't know if it's coming in clear enough to be seen, to be able to do a screenshot of it. So I'll hold it up here for a minute or two. Hopefully, it's coming in good enough.
Ma'am? Ma'am, I'll do one better if they want.
Okay.
If they want to reach out, if you just on IG or Facebook, by tomorrow morning, I'll have that on my Facebook, which is the Army Reserve CSM, or on Instagram, and you could just refer to that. And frankly, if you're not getting support from your chain of command, it's Andrew Lombardo. Just email me directly.
And ma'am, this is Mutlu Tai. We will post that flyer in the Facebook Live chat right away.
Okay, super.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I have a question for Mrs. Terry. Do you have any advice on soldiers who may want to be mentors and how to go about it?
Hi, yes, I just popped the answer into the chat, but definitely our clubs always need volunteers. Specifically, we have a program called Project Learn, which is during what we also call Power Hour. So, that hour right when they get out of school and attend the club, we always need mentors and tutors for the Power Hour Project Learn program. We could also always use soldiers to come and do PT with the kids, or just come and talk with them about what it means to be an Army reservist. So lots of opportunities at our local club. So I would just encourage them in the same way they would look for their local club through their zip code to do that as well. And they could call the club directly to find out the volunteer opportunities.
Thank you. I have another question. Is Military Family Association, are there services provided in Puerto Rico?
We have not had camps, or in my memory, when I've been here, family programming there. That doesn't mean that we won't in the future. We just have to find a partner that we can work with there. We've talked about doing Guam, Puerto Rico. We want to be everywhere. So if you have a place, send me the information and I can go check it out.
Hey, so.
I would love to go to Puerto Rico.
So could
Mr.
I,
McCarthy?
could I dogpile on partial response? And that is, so the Army Reserve has family programs specialists down in Puerto Rico and out in the Pacific. So if you really, not really want to, but if you find the opportunity where there's time to collaborate, I'd ask you to reach out to those folks. What's it down?
First MSC.
First MSC family programs down in Puerto Rico. And I think it's ninth.
That's who's asking the question. Yeah,
Oh.
the ninth.
Oh,
And the ninth out of Hawaii.
and the ninth out of Hawaii that handles the Pacific. Sorry,
Mission Support Command.
shameless plug, but if you're looking for a way in, those folks might be able to help you because they know local folks.
Yeah.
Is I guess what I'm getting at.
Thank you. for
Terry,
that,
how about
Mr.
yourself?
I'm sorry, Sergeant Major.
I think, Terry, how about yourself? Do your programs, or the Boys and Girls Club, they're offered in Puerto Rico, correct?
Yes, we do have clubs in Puerto Rico. So the Mission Youth Outreach programming is definitely applicable in Puerto Rico.
Thank you for that. For both presenters, do you have any programs available for the kids that are having a hard time and can use a mentor or a big brother or a friend?
Carrie, I'll let you go first on that one. I'm sure you do.
Yes, absolutely. We have a separate partnership with the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention that's specifically for mentorship. So we have, I wouldn't say 100% of our organizations, but probably about 70% of our organizations do receive funding for mentorship. And so specifically, if a family was really thinking that their child needs a mentor, again, they would connect with that local club and ask that local club if they have mentorship programs. And certainly they would be able to do that. Even if they don't have that funding or not participating in that funded program, just by the nature of what we do, we are mentoring kids on a daily basis. So if as a family member, you're wanting specific mentorship for your child, just have the conversation with the staff there and they will be sure to, connect your youth with the staff person that they need most.
Thank you.
Yeah. For our particular programs, we absolutely, we want all kids to be there. Some mentorship parts are built into the program. It is just a week-long program, so we don't have that like sustained relationship ability. But because it's such a wide range of ages and all military kids, we do find often that the older kids can kind of mentor the younger kids and help them through that process. We also have MFLACs, Military Family Life Counselors, at all of our camps and weekend programs. They're there to offer support to any youth or family member that needs a little bit more support for the week or weekend, and also offer resources for sustained support afterwards.
Thank you for that. Are there any more questions from the field for anyone on the panel? Ma'am, did you have something?
I do. So I'm not sure what age group was being about the mentorship was being asked, but I also think that the National Military Family Association has a high school program or affiliates with high schools and has counselors available through that mechanism. I could be wrong, but I think that that's a program that's offered also. Organization.
Not specifically for high school. We do have a program that's part of our organization called Bloom for military teens by military teens, and they do some mentorship type things. They are part of our group, so they do some of that, but we don't work with high school specifically.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to look up and Mr. Taiwo may know. There is an organization that does affiliate with high schools and does offer that guidance and that help in particular for military kids because they have, their parents are deployed, or, that separation anxiety. They're coming back and they're readjusting to mom or dad coming back home from having been gone, from moving all the time. So I don't remember what the name of the program is. I'll have to see if I
I
can find it.
believe you might be talking about the Travis Manion Foundation. They do have some high school clubs.
This was a specific high school affiliation. I'll have to find it and make sure we get that out to the audience.
Cool.
We'll post it.
Ma'am, we'll research that. I remember that conversation. I just, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it, but we'll research that and put it out. Over.
Yeah, and I also, for some reason, think it had purple in the name. For some reason. So, okay.
And for the mentorship question, it was concerning a 10-year-old. But that's excellent information to have. I'm going to go to the chat one more time. Is there any other questions? Yep, I have one. If an active duty member chooses to retire, they can begin drawing their annual pensions. However, if the same active duty member retires and chooses to join the reserve, they cannot access that pension until after they leave the reserves. The delays in pensions they have earned and results in them missing on significant income. Has the payment system been fixed to not penalize active duty who choose to become Army Reserve soldiers?
So the short version is the system doesn't work as described. The individual can choose which system they use for the various days of duty that they do. So you can't draw retirement pay and get paid while serving simultaneously. So what you end up doing, so if the individual chooses to become a reservist, they can draw their retirement pay, but for the days that they're doing reserve duty, they could get reserve pay instead. So for example, if you go and do a weekend and you're doing 4 IDT periods, you could get 4 days pay, but not active retirement pay at the same time. So you could sort of get 4 days pay for the 2 days. And then unfortunately, there's little incentive to go do an annual training because it's going to be a 1-for-1 swap out. But when you become a reservist, you don't lose your reserve pay. You have to pick which of the two you're going to get paid on a day that you work.
Thank you,
But you
ma'am.
gain years.
That was very well stated, ma'am. That was, yeah, awesome.
Okay. If there are no more questions, I will now turn it over to Sergeant Major Lombardo for his closing comments. Sergeant Major.
Thanks, ma'am. Thanks, ma'am. And thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight and for those questions. I've been doing this for about 37 years. These forums are pretty, I wish I had these back then. I wish we had the technology to do this. Because I think I would have taken advantage a lot more of these programs. What I would ask is that that you don't keep this to yourself, that you tell other family members out there and other soldiers, so we can get a larger audience. So this is not siloed up, and we can communicate this very important information. So both Boys and Girls Club, their Mission Youth Outreach, and the National Military Family Association and Operation Purple Camp are great tools. And they support the Army Reserve's concept of that golden diamond, or what the SMA talks about, the golden triangle. And family is a very important part of that. Thank you for Terry, and frankly, I think you earned your own creds tonight, and Christy, for the great work that you and your organizations do for our service members. I'm just going to reiterate, I know we talked about it earlier, but a recent success story for the Army Reserve, and that we have over 22,000 reserve soldiers that are married soldiers or single parents. And we recognize that sometimes the lack of available childcare can impact your ability to train on the weekend consistently. So General Daniels has been a very big advocate of providing some additional options. And that is that troop program unit childcare program, which it's no cost, but this is an earned benefit. And it's a solution that you may be able to use during battle assembly or for annual training exercises. It's currently available for soldiers within the states based in California, or Army Reserve soldiers in California, Florida, New York, and Texas. Stay tuned and be on the lookout for updates, possibly to include additional providers We Care, and additional locations, potentially Kansas City, Missouri. So thank you all for what you do, and take care of each other, and look forward to seeing you the next time. I believe I'm turning this over to John.
Thanks, Sergeant Major. Thanks to everyone who put this together, to the ladies panelists. Thank you. I learned a little bit something every time I listen to you. So to the command teams, to dogpiling what Sergeant Major said, to the command teams and really spouses out there, I'd ask you to share tonight's great information within your tribes, right? And this will be available electronically on the family programs page either tonight or tomorrow morning. So as days become a little longer and warmer, please continue to be safe. As many of us enjoy spending more time outdoors with our families. And we were on leave, or she was on leave, and she took me along. I had a little heat injury because I wasn't watching myself. So as you spend more time outdoors, crank the water down. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for being here, and wait for it. Go Mets.
Yeah. Anyway, so once again, I'm trying not to cough too badly, which he gave me. Thank you very much. Thanks for sharing, sharing something like that. Anyway, so first I want to thank Terry and Christy for joining us this afternoon, this evening, this morning, where it is you happen to be, from Mission Youth Outreach and Operation Purple Camp. Much appreciated that you came and volunteered your time, and that your organizations do what they do. Appreciate all of that. Those of you out there listening in, I hope you continue to reach out, and both online and in person, collect more additional resources. These folks are there to help us and to help you guys. One thing I do want to mention, Sergeant Major Lombardo talked about the child care program. One of our challenges, interestingly enough, is finding enough providers to provide care on weekends and for these short-term events. So we have another flyer out called Help Support Your Local Heroes. Are you a child care provider? And then getting these providers to actually enroll in the program so that they can help our soldiers. So we'll post that as well. If you happen to know providers, we'll make sure that that's out there so we can add them into the team so we can help out our soldiers. Because we do need more providers. We've got more requests for care than we've got providers that do weekend support. We're going to go another route. Command Sergeant Major Lombardo is taking another path to see if we can expand our list of providers. But anything you all can do to help us help each other would be great. So next town hall scheduled for June later this year. We'll get back to you on the specific date. We'll put that out. Oh, we get the 7th. I just saw it. There it goes at 8 p.m. So stay tuned. We'll be talking then.
I got to write that down.
Yeah, okay, you write that down. So the video recording will be out here shortly. Put it out tomorrow morning. Stay safe. Please do take care of each other. I was there feeding him water and hamburgers and things like that to get him out of his dehydrated state, to get him back healthy again. So ready now.
Shaping tomorrow.
Shaping tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Cool.